Hello. Hi. Wow. Wow, Streamlabs. And maybe my Stream Deck. Just not working right. Hey, welcome. We're playing TaleSpire. We're building a classic D&D map in TaleSpire. And that map is the Tomb of Horrors. We've already built the dungeon. As you can see, it's down there underneath all that. In its entirety. All we have left to do is to build the hillside that it's containing it. So we started a bit last week in earnest, and my webcam, for those of you who are regular viewers, might notice that my webcam is sorely disabled. Yeah. Normally I would restart my computer and get it up and running, but can't really do that right now because as of this stream, I am uploading something to YouTube, and I don't want to have to restart that process. I've been uploading it all day, and it's only at like some pitiful, let's see, 45%. Yeah. So don't want to start that over. It's taken a bit to get it to that point. So has anyone else been having that issue with uploads to YouTube just taking forever? Leave in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. Leave in the comments if you are also a content creator and are experiencing some serious lag on YouTube uploads, or might just be my connection. I don't know. Anyway, let's go into build mode and get this train wreck rolling. Get it off the station and start threatening some lives. As a train wreck does. Because that's the premise. Get it? It's a train wreck. Anyway, we're building in TaleSpire, so we have to build this hillside. And we're just kind of filling in the gaps on this bad boy. Is that? Oh, hold on. That can't be. Oh, I guess it is. It's just very. It has a lot of texture on the top, so it looks like it's floating. Sure. That works. Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, same there. It looks like it's floating on top of that one. All right, that's fine. So yeah, we had our stream on Saturday. That went pretty good. The Skyrim, good old Skyrim Special Edition on Legendary difficulty, and it went good. We didn't die once for a change. We made it through the entire stream without dying once. But the bad news is that my Streamlabs did not record, as it has before, did not record the segments past the first ad break. So at the first ad break, when I hit the stop recording to go to ad break, it just stopped recording and did not kick up again when I hit go live again. So that's fun. I thought I had fixed that issue. We ran into that before and I thought I had fixed it, but apparently not. So yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Hopefully I fixed it again. We'll find out, I guess. If ever there were a time to find out, it's today. And if not, it's not a big deal, because luckily I just have it set that my Twitch records as well. It keeps the recording up, so it's a lower quality one, but I just download it and clip off the first part, use the first part that I actually recorded on my machine, and just tack the Twitch recording pieces onto the end of that, and it's good enough. It works. But yeah, I got a little pissed at it today because I thought I had fixed that issue. So I went and I checked out another OBS to see if I could, maybe not have to deal with Streamlabs. Maybe there's a better option out there. If there is, that option is not XSplit. Let me tell you, because oh boy, I went to the trouble of downloading it, installing it, and testing out, just importing some of the assets that I have for my overlay, just my live overlay into XSplit, and trying to just run the overlay and run a game and see how it handles it. It was good for maybe 5 minutes, and then the wavy bit that you see in the back, that GIF of the wave in the background, stopped. It just stopped. It didn't continue to loop like it's supposed to. And then maybe 20 minutes in, the capture just stopped. It just stopped capturing the game. So I was like, okay, that's not an option. It's just some basic stuff that we wanted to do, and it's not doing it. So I guess in that respect, it's not really such a big deal that Streamlabs didn't record some of my thing. I mean, sure, it's annoying, but it could be XSplit, which is worse, which just stops streaming. It's just like, I don't feel like it, I'm gonna take off. Just stops and just doesn't keep the GIFs looping on the overlay, which is kind of that's sort of my thing on my overlay, is I have looping GIFs, keeping it interesting. So yeah, it just like utter fail. So we'll just continue to be using Streamlabs despite its one shortcoming. Actually, there are a couple of things that it ticks me off about, like what we just experienced at the start of this. It's like we hit the button, and I don't know if that was my Stream Deck or if it was Streamlabs, but I don't know. My buttons are set up to do certain things, and I don't know if we just have to update them because things got messed up. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll have to sit and play with it. Well, yeah. So that's what I did today, aside from work, which was slow. Just had a meeting and did a little bit of design work, and just kept busy, basically. And once I wrapped everything up, I played a little bit of good old Wind Waker on emulator. Because yeah, and I feel bad because I don't want to stream it because I don't own it on the actual game, so I don't want to stream the game on emulation, not having ever owned the game. I never ever owned it. Just didn't have the money to buy a bunch of games when I had a Wii or I never had a 64, so couldn't play it there. But yeah, I played a little bit of that. That it's kind of tough. I think the toughest thing is it's the controls. That's the toughest part. They're really weird, and the camera's reversed, which makes it even worse, and you can't change it. So that's also a big. It's a big hurdle for me, because I like to be able to change the axis if I need to, but you can't. I'm used to it a certain way. But whatever, yeah, I played it a little bit, and it's fun. It's a fun game. Actually, I was watching a playthrough of it. You might have heard of them, the game Game Grumps. I was watching them play it, and I realized that was a very early playthrough of theirs. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess relatively, yeah. It was very early in Dan's time on the show. And the early Dan episodes, I'm not too keen on. They're okay. It's just that overall they had not really gelled yet, Aaron and Dan, and a lot of their humor is derived from the volume of their voice. Like, a lot of it's just like loud. A lot of their comedy formula is loud equals funny, which is not true. And it's not, I'm sorry, I don't mean to like rip on them or anything, but I'm sure they would probably say the same thing. Like, looking back at they've definitely come a long way from where they were then, which was what, 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. Yeah, I mean, their later stuff, their more recent stuff is much more reserved. They definitely have more of a comedic not really a gimmick, but a comedic method than just screaming into the microphone. Which it just seems like that's what a lot of, like, I mean, I watched what was it, their Mario Sunshine playthrough, which was similar. I think it was around the same time, maybe before, and same thing. I mean, I watched it the first time I watched it. I thought I just kind of watched it, but having watched their more recent stuff, especially during the pandemic and during quarantine, and when they were kind of separated, and they had to do everything over Discord, I think that also influenced a little bit of their very recent stuff, where it's a lot less screaming, and more, focusing on a bit. Actually focusing on a bit, even if it is just a goofy bit that Aaron picks up. It's not a goofy bit that is screamed into the microphone ad nauseum, which is what a lot of the early stuff, in my opinion, was. Even with John, a lot of their stuff I noticed was very, scream into the mic this thing over and over again, or a couple things over and over again. Yeah, I mean, it can be funny one or two times, but then at a certain point, it stops being funny. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe they were just looking for something, just keeping the air filled with something. Like, silence is dead content, right? And I mean, I don't know. There's of course the pressure with they're actually making a living off of doing that. So you have to constantly, be entertaining, or else you don't make money. And I know this I do for fun. I don't make a living off of this. I mean, Twitch sent me my first, bit of money from actually streaming, and there's no way I could live on that. I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong. And for getting paid anything to do this is amazing. It's just not what I would call a paycheck by any stretch of the imagination. I would say it's like maybe one car insurance payment for 1 month. given depending on your area and your provider. I know they vary, but for me, that's pretty much exactly. It was exactly that that cost in one payment. So I mean, hey, I'll take it. That means I don't have to worry about paying my car insurance, even though I don't I didn't already, but yeah, having to, you know, that's their livelihood. I have a job. I have an actual job that pays me. This is not my livelihood. This is just fun. You know, I like doing it. If I don't have a whole lot of viewers, I don't really care. I don't really mind. It's, I was going to do this anyway, and to do it on stream, you know, it's just an added bonus. But if they don't get the views on their videos, and if they don't, you know, get the bills, make the bills, then, you know, people's livelihoods, or everyone who's involved with the show, whoops, are we cutting it? We are cutting into that. Hold on. Then everyone who's involved with the show, is at risk, or, you know, their livelihood is jeopardized, which is, you know, that's a lot to consider. And they had, I think at the time, they had a lot of people involved with the show. I know they've kind of trimmed back a little bit, especially with the pandemic. I think some people are still not, and I don't think it's because they chose to slim down. It's because some of their crew is still uncomfortable meeting at the office. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like they've kind of trimmed down a little bit. I know there are people still some of their crew still works remotely in some capacity, and you know, people who do some of the social media stuff and stuff like that. But yeah, but they, as far as I know, they're back in their office doing stuff. But at the time, they had like multiple. They had like Steam Train, and they had other like weird ancillary channels, technically, although they were still all under the Game Grumps banner. So yeah, they had like a bunch of people kind of involved, including like Ross and Dan had Steam Train. So Ross kind of has gone on to do his own stuff mostly. He doesn't do a whole lot of stuff on the Grumps. He just basically sends Mario Maker levels at them to torture them, which is funny. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pressure to kind of have people relying on you to be funny and, you know, make content. And I couldn't imagine that. I mean, it would certainly make it less fun. I don't know if it would make it unfun, but it would certainly make it less fun. There would be the added pressure, which is pressure's never fun. But yeah, that's my tangent on that. But anyway, I was watching the Wind Waker. I was watching their Wind Waker playthrough, and I wanted to play it, and so I got my Dolphin emulator working on here, and that allowed me to play a couple games that they've played that I wanted to, including Ribbit King, and the Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. What was another one? Oh, Twilight Princess, and Wind Waker, of course. Kind of want to also do the first Luigi's Mansion, because I've played the new one that's on the Switch, and I really like it, and I want to try the precursor, see how that is. But yeah, the controls on that are bonkers, and I can see why Aaron was so frustrated with it. It didn't help that they were doing like 10-minute episodes, and it didn't and they were stretching out their sessions out over weeks. And they were just, their plates were full with like, I think it was, they're doing Star Bomb at the time, a bunch of Star Bomb stuff, and they were doing oh, Aaron was getting ready to get married. I remember that, them talking about that in one of the episodes. So that also, and then they went to Japan immediately after. He and Susie, I believe. Well, who else? And so yeah, and just a bunch of stuff like that, where the sessions were stretched out between these massive stretches of time. So you lose your muscle memory with and your they're playing other games in between. So they lose their muscle. He loses his muscle memory, in playing Wind Waker, which really requires a very specific way of playing. Because I mean, I played it a bit today, and just trying to fight do a simple combat was just like, okay, wait, what do I hold down? Oh wait, wait, how do I use my shield? That kind of stuff. I had no idea, and I had started playing like maybe a couple weeks ago, just to see if it worked. A, to see if the game worked, and B, just to try it out, take it for a little spin. And between then and now, I mean, the first time I played it, I think I got the controls all down. I was like, all right, I feel comfortable. I think I got it. And then playing it today, I was like, oh God, how do I do this? So yeah. It's an interesting game. It's fun, I will say that, and it does take some getting used to the control, especially on. I bought a N64 Bluetooth controller that works with the Switch, but I've been using that for my Ni no Kuni playthrough because it's just kind of neat. I just like it, and I think I have to unpair it from the Switch and then reconnect it to my computer with Bluetooth in order for the emulator to pick it up again. Because I tried to use it and the emulator didn't even recognize it. And in fact, I turned on the controller and it turned on my Switch. So I was like, oh, oops, okay. So I just probably have to do that. I think that might help. So if I do ever pick it up again, which I would definitely. I'm gonna definitely do that, because that will, I imagine, would definitely help. Because with it's a very specific button layout between the Xbox controller that I was using and the N64 controller, which that's the native controller for the game. They're very like the button layout is just crazy, and they even have the diagram on the screen the entire time for your weapon or your the items that you quick keyed, like your telescope or your boomerang or whatever. And it does not grok with the Xbox controller that you have in your hand. It's like, oh wait, which is X, which is, it doesn't make sense. So that's probably part of my problem. I have to fix that. It's part of the reason I bought the controller in the first place. Because I wanted to use it. Started a new version of Skyrim. Yes, Rotten 419. I started Special Edition. Because Lord knows I can never not be playing Skyrim. As you well know. You were the one that brought to my attention exactly how many hours in months I have been playing Skyrim. Oh boy. Yes. Yeah. It's a game you can keep playing, or you can try. You can certainly have an easy go of trying. Oh cool. I think we did the whole front. The whole front side. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, another thing I did today is I went and found a better fishing mod for Skyrim Special Edition. It's actually the same mod that was in the regular edition that I had, but someone ported it over to Special Edition, which is awesome because I love that fishing mod. It's one of my favorites. So I did that today, and I had to fight with the freaking mod loader because Skyrim. What was it? UI. No, what is it? Sky UI. That's what it was. Sky UI would not load, and if it did load, it would crash. So I had to go into the actual Nexus mod manager that I have and fix the load order, because I tried doing it in Special Edition and that just caused all kinds of problems. So for future reference, I have to do that in Nexus mod manager. Otherwise, problems. Lots and lots of problems. Like 15 minutes of me cursing at Skyrim because it would either load but Sky UI wouldn't load, or it would crash. So yeah, lots of fun. But I got it. I got it to work. So I got that to look forward to on Saturday. So yeah, we got in my endless babbling, I managed to fill in the gaps on the front side of this. So coming along pretty good, getting this done pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna come back through and we're gonna do detail. We got to do the other faces of the hillside below this, like the rock facing. And of course we're going to do some smooth this out with some of the treetop texture or treetop tiles to make some of these lifts less severe. All right. Let's see. Where do I want to hit it now? That's fine. I noticed a tiny little gap, but it's not worth. It's not worth the headache of finding the right angle. There we go. All right. Cool. And down a little bit, and there we go. Cool. Cool. What else did I do this weekend? What did I do on Sunday? Oh, I put away some more of my magic cards. Same thing I did last Sunday. I put away like a bunch of magic cards. This Sunday I just put away a few. Like I just had a few out that I had just ordered and got in, and they needed to be put away, and stuff that I had cut from other decks that needed to be put away, things like that. Like, I don't know. Like with Magic, I like playing the game. I don't get to play it often. I think my favorite thing about it is building decks. It's my favorite part of it. This is just making this weird machine that does this thing, and if it goes right, you can win a game. But yeah, that's my favorite part. So I have a bunch. Oh my god, how many modern decks do I have? I have 6. I want to say 8 modern decks, because I got a mono red. I've got a mono red affinity burn, basically mono red affinity burn. I've got a green white Value Town thing. It's just green white. Yeah, it's just green white Value Town, I guess is the right name for it. what's the other one? What's the blue one? Oh, Mono Blue Tempo for modern. It's actually Mono Blue Tempo Affinity. So a lot of my modern decks revolve around artifacts. That's my favorite magic card, type of magic card are artifacts, 100%. Anyway, I got Mono Blue Tempo Affinity. I've got Dimir Mill, creatureless Dimir Mill, which was one of the first decks that I built. I've got an Azorius, what's it called? Solemnity Persist combo deck, which is just basically Azorius Solemnity Control, I guess is what it would be called. And oops, how'd that happen? And then I've got a Wurza, it's like a Grixis Wurza with a little bit of white, but not really. It's almost 4-color Urza, but it's mostly just Grixis Urza. Because I love Urza. And that deck is fun. And that was one of when I was first building decks, like in earnest, that was one of the combos that I wanted to make, was Infinite Thopters. And I was using some of the janky stuff from Kaladesh, which you could get there, but there were too many pieces, and it relied on energy, and it was kind of a clunky beast. But you could get there, and you could make infinite Thopters. It just never really actually did it often enough. But Wurza does that, and it actually works. that's the reason I wanted to get it, because like, oh, that's what I was trying to do, except it's actually good. Oh wait, I take it back. I have 9 modern decks because I also have Hammer Time. Yeah, I have Hammer Time. Good old Hammer Time. A tier deck. My Wurza deck is very janky, so I don't know if it'd be considered tier. I don't know. The Wurza combo is just good though, so maybe it is. I don't know. But my Hammer Time deck is a tier deck. My only modern tier deck. The rest are all very janky. They're all very not likely to win. Just they do something cool, and I like them. And then I've got a Davriel mono black discard. But I've also added. Well, I didn't add it. It was just part of the original build. Was Liliana? Was it Liliana Untouched by Death? No, Liliana Death's Ward or something like that. The one where she just makes the opponent discard. I forget what set it came. It's a recent one. It's a 4-drop Liliana where her +1 forces each player to discard, and any opponent who can't loses 3 life. Or discard a card or sacrifice a non-land permanent or something like that. But each opponent who can't loses 3 life. It's basically, actually, it's a 12 rack. What am I saying? It's got 4 copies of the rack in it. It's got 4 copies of Shrieking Affliction. It's got 3 Davriels, and 1 on the sideboard. So, and then I put in Turgrid, because she's just insane in that deck. And that was not part of the original build. Because anything with her out, any creature that your opponent discards or sacrifices, enters the battlefield under your control, which is pretty good. So it's almost creatureless, although you can cast Turgrid as her on the lantern side of her, which is technically it's just an artifact then. And so it's creatureless, but it can have creatures without having to rely on the sideboard. Haha. But yeah, that one's fun. And I believe that's all my modern. So yeah, I've got 9 modern decks. Jesus. Let's see. I've got how many Pioneer? 1, 2, 3. I think only 3. I've got what is I've got 1,000-Year Storm, Smothering Storm. So it's Smothering Tithe with 1,000-Year Storm and emergency powers and stuff like that, just to cast a bunch of copies and get a bunch of treasure tokens and just storm off and with Thousand Year Storm and burn your opponent out of the game, that kind of thing. Or trample over them with a bunch of hasty hasty human soldiers, that kind of thing. It was big in standard. Well, not really big in standard. It was a janky thing you could do in standard. I think it was around the time of before War of the Spark. What was it? I forget the name of the two sets, but the two sets right before War of the Spark. It was a standard deck around that time. That one was fun. It was just so much fun. I had to make a Pioneer version of it. And the sideboard is a I put in what was it? Arclight Phoenixes and those Drakes that what are they called? Oh, I forget the name. But yeah, so it's got like and I got Niv Mizzets in the sideboard. So it's got a transformative sideboard where you can bring in a bunch of creatures. That has main deck, no creatures. It's got some spells that create tokens, but aside from that, no creatures. And I added Alrund's Epiphany in that deck, which is a lot of fun because then you just take infinite turns, which is super broken. But yeah, that's one, and I've got and that one actually strangely does not rely on artifacts. It's strange for a deck of mine to not rely on artifacts. The other one I've got is what I like to call Happy Meals. It's the Happily Ever After enchantment from what was it? Eldraine, Throne of Eldraine, and food synergies, making food tokens, and lots of yeah. It was at the point like early on it had an Oko in there, and Oko got banned, so I had to take him out. That kind of thing. It used to be good, and then it got bad, and then it had Teferi's in it too, and Teferi got banned, so I had to take Teferi out of it. So okay, so I'm not sure if it's very good anymore. But it's fun when it actually goes off because you're just trying to win with Happily Ever After. And so the key is to just cast a couple Plane-Wide Celebrations, make a bunch of citizen tokens that are every color, gain a bunch of life, and using Dig Through Times and Tamio, and I think I've got Calyx in there because it's a very enchantment-heavy deck. To just kind of like put one of each kind of permanent on your battlefield and a sorcery or instant in your graveyard, and then as long as you have all that going on, Happily Ever After should trigger on your upkeep, pending you can make it to your upkeep. That's the thing, though. Is oftentimes, well, Pioneer. I don't know. I've haven't played as much Pioneer as I'd like, so I don't know what the average turn, what's the average life of a turn, or how many turns it would take to actually lose in in the meta. But I don't know. It's just a fun deck. And I'm like debating on making it a modern deck because they just printed a bunch of other food stuff with the latest Modern Horizons, and I was like, but I can't put any of them in the deck because it's Pioneer. It's infuriating. So yeah, I got that which I call Happy Meals, of course. And then I've got one that is it's a colorless, completely colorless. So it uses artifacts. So it's basically mono brown, but that's an old school because artifacts used to have the brown border. Now they have the sort of gray silver border ish thing. So it's mono brown, but it's using Power Stone Shard and Mystic Forge to basically, if you can get your Power Stones down and get other mana rocks down, and get your Mystic Forge down or two, and a Paradox Engine, you can basically take the world's longest turn. Essentially, either they used to what do they have? Walking Ballista used to be the payoff, where you would tutor it out with a Karn from your sideboard, and just with all of your mana rocks out and all the mana that you build up from casting spells off of the top of your deck and untapping all your mana rocks, and just retapping them and putting them, just filling up your mana pool with just ungodly amounts of colorless mana, and then just dumping it all on a Walking Ballista and just hosing your opponent and their entire board. But Walking Ballista got banned, so I put in Aetherflux Reservoir, another Kaladesh card. Who said Kaladesh is broken? Everyone says that because it is kind of broken. It was the most broken set until Throne of Eldraine. I mean, it's true. It's very true. If you're looking for broken artifacts, look at Kaladesh. Just look no further than Kaladesh. And Aether Revolt, I believe, is the other one. But yeah, that was I had to kind of, once Ballista got banned, I had to figure out something else. And Aetherflux Reservoir is pretty good because as long as you're going to be, you basically, once you start going off, you have to keep count of how many spells you cast, because the end result is going to be getting your Aetherflux Reservoir with a Karn and then just blasting your opponent. So you want to be sure that you're gaining the right amount of life for each spell you cast, so you can spend 50 life and do 50 points of damage to your opponent with Aetherflux Reservoir. But yeah, that deck is fun, and I threw in the big Ugin, what's it? Ugin the Ineffable, not Ugin the Ineffable. There is Ugin the Ineffable in there, but Ugin, the big Ugin, big Daddy Ugin, and Ulamog, because what colorless deck doesn't want an Ulamog, especially if it's in the format. And hey, if it's in the format, I'm gonna put it in there. And any excuse to get an Ulamog. I remember when I first saw Ulamog, like the colorless, the Eldrazi and all that, I was like, that's so weird. Because it was like the first cards that actually, to my knowledge, it kind of like went outside the artwork went through the border. And I was just like, whoa. So, yeah, an excuse to finally get an Ulamog. But yeah, that's my other Pioneer. Yeah, I think I have three. That that Happy Meals and Smothering Storm. And then I've got 6 Commander decks, I think. Yeah, 6 Commander decks. One of them is definitely, it's an artifact. Artifact. This is blue-red. Is it artifacts with Joyra as the commander? Is it just like basically artifacts historic synergies? I've got one that has Hapatra as the commander, Vizier of Poisons, and that's basically Death Touch, Infect, -1/-1 counters, and it's black and green. It's a fun time deck. Whew, it is pretty nasty, and every time I get a new piece to it, I'm just like, oh, that's mean, but I'm putting it in because I got a Vorinclex when I bought my box of God, what set did he come with? Whatever set he came with, I forget. I think it was Modern Horizons. I forget. But yeah, I got the Vorinclex, and I was like, oh, well, that's going in there for sure. Anytime I can double up the amount of the -1/-1 counters I'm putting on creatures, sign me up. Sign me up for that. So yeah, and of course, I mean, I have a Yawgmoth in there because with Hapatra, you only need one other piece, and that goes infinite. You can just draw your whole deck and destroy your, deal however many points of damage to your opponents, gain that much life, put that many -1/-1 counters on all of your opponent's creatures, make that many snake tokens. Although you are sacrificing that snake token every time you activate Yawgmoth, but still, But yeah, if you have anything like a Zulaport Cutthroat or a Blood Artist on the battlefield, anything like that, you just basically drain your opponents out of the game. Which is fun. And it takes a lot to get to. It's not so crazy that it's like, oh, well, here's turn 3, I win. Nobody gets to play Commander, which is always a feel bad. It's more of a, oh, okay, I can eventually get to this, but I have to fight my way through some disruption, because it can easily get disrupted. And God, am I gonna talk about every deck I have? just filling in this, you know, just filling it in the airwaves with stuff to talk about. That's all I'm doing right now. So yeah, I got that. I've got what other one? What's the other one I just built? Oh, an enchanter deck, Mardu enchanter, basically with sagas, using Gen Arcanum Weaver. That one's still a little iffy. I played through with it a couple times, not an actual game, just like playtesting it, and it seems like it's kind of neat, but I don't know if it's just it feels like it's missing something. I've got some really janky really janky combos in there, so I don't know how viable it actually is in practice, but it seems fun. It's fun to play. Just have to, you know, tweak it a little bit still, I think. I've also got a Zur enchanter deck, Esper, blue, white, and black. And that one has Necropotence in it, so that's really all the more you need. You just need Necropotence and Zur to tutor it up, and there you go. You're basically, that's it. And you got a bunch of broken stuff like, what was it? Thassa's Oracle and things like that kind of win condition, or if I just where I draw on my empty deck with a Thassa's Oracle and I win, or I got that one Jace, I forget what Jace it is, but same deal with that one. If you draw on an empty deck, you win. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. It's fine. So yeah, to talk a little bit about what I'm doing in here. I'm just trying to draw this texture out a little bit because I looked at it from above and it was very square. So I want to kind of add a bit of texture going out this way. I can probably also put some 1x1 tiles along here, but I'm also going to be bringing up that those treetops a little bit. The hillside texture, also called treetops, up a bit in there to kind of tie that in. So I really shouldn't get too crazy, but I mean, I want the option to be able to show, you know, not have endless treetops from side to side. You know, if I want to show a little peek through the canopy and quote unquote canopy, and you know, show some of this, it won't look like it won't look super blocky. So that's why I'm doing this. I also have when did I build somewhat recently? There's like the first one I built was a zombie tribal with Verena, Verena the Witch Queen, Verena the Lich Queen as the commander. But you can also, I also just recently put Nevinyrral in there, so you could use him as a commander if you wanted to. But it's sort of built kind of to work well with Verena. There are some synergies in there, like I've got Library of Leng, so when you discard with Verena, you can discard to the top of your library instead of your graveyard, so that's kind of neat. So you can basically just reorder your your draw with the cards in your hand. And what else? There's another one. There's another card that I got recently that I put in there. Oh, Tormod. Tormod also synergizes with Verna, because her ability, when you exile 2 cards from you pay 1, exile 2 cards from your Lore Master. What's up? With Tormod, when you exile, whenever any card leaves your graveyard, I think you create a 2/2 zombie token tapped. And with Verna, anytime you exile, you activate her, you exile a card from your graveyard, and you make a 2/2 zombie. So you're basically just doubling up your zombies. Plus, if another card, like if some of your actual zombies have the ability to just leave your graveyard, I mean, that just will trigger Tormod, and you get another zombie. So that's kind of neat. And yeah, I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I just put a Sararak in there, in that deck, who is the person who built the Tomb of Horrors, which we're building. And he's also very broken. As long as you have, you have to get to a pretty high CMC enchantment to get it to work really well. You need a oh no, that's not you. But yeah, you need to get to Rooftop Storm, which is I think 6 or 7 mana, which is kind of a lot. Although in Commander, depending on your group, getting to 7 mana may or may not be that much of a stretch. But who knows? But basically, you cast a Sararak, and he immediately goes back to your hand if you haven't completed the Tomb of Annihilation, which is the 5e version of Tomb of Horrors, the non-canonical version of Tomb of Horrors. They have gone back, and as we've done Zombie Gravedigger, yeah. I remember Gravedigger. Gravedigger was pretty good. He was used in some of the standard zombie tribal decks. So relatively recently, I think. But yeah, when you cast him, he immediately goes back in your hand if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, and then you venture into a dungeon, basically. Which that mechanic, you just enter one room on one of the dungeon cards from the Forgotten Realms set, which it's a weird mechanic, and I'm still getting used to it. But at least when you buy a box, you get more than one of each of the little dungeon cards. Way more than one. You get maybe 5 or 6 of each. So, at least you don't have to worry about not knowing. But there are three dungeons to choose from, so you can just kind of never finish the Tomb of Annihilation. You can just keep going through. I think the best one is Lost Mine of Phandelver, and if you just keep going through that over and over again, you will eventually just drain your opponents out of the game and draw your whole deck and make a bunch of treasure tokens, and it's just an infinite loop. So it's basically a 2-card combo, but one of those cards costs 7 mana to get on the battlefield. So it's kind of spiky, but it's definitely not so fast that your opponents won't have a chance to deal with it. But yeah, that's the new thing that I just added to my zombie tribal deck, which I really like. And I also recently went through it and audited the lands and made sure everything was, because that was the first deck I ever built, and they've come out with some things since. So I just went through and updated some stuff on that. And the other one I have is a blue-green top of the deck matters kind of synergy deck with Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter, as the commander, which is one of the first. It was also one of the first. It was I think the second commander deck I built. And that one I've just kind of been going back and adding stuff in. It feels like a lot lately because they've been the last couple sets at least last year, they really were giving a bunch of power to blue and green, so it felt like every set that came out, I was adding new stuff to that deck, which was kind of cool. But I added a Kinnan from Ikoria, and he just makes a infinite combo, as long as you have a what was it, Basalt Monolith and Gemstone Array. That's what it is. You need him, Basalt Monolith, and Gemstone Array, and then you can basically just go through your whole deck with him and just pick out all the creatures and put them on the battlefield. That's basically it. Yeah, I mean, you activate them like however many times, and you look at the top X cards of your deck and pick out one creature from there and put it on the battlefield for free. It is, well, normally it costs, what, 6 mana to activate them or something, but with Basalt Monolith making infinite colorless mana, and then Gemstone Array turning that colorless mana into mana of any color, you're basically, you just play through your whole deck. Creature-wise, anyway. But yeah, it's a really neat thing, and it made, it kind of added to the, it didn't really step on the whole thing that I had with Rashmi, because with her I was doing her in Mind's Dilation, which is another big ass enchantment. It's like 7 mana, but it ties in with her thing. Every time you cast, with the first spell you cast, you can look at the top card of your library, and if it is has a less CMC than the spell you just cast, you can cast it for free, or you can put it in your hand if you don't. So you either get to cast another spell or draw a card, which is pretty good. That's why I like Rashmi. She's really good. It's like, well, I can either get a 2-for-1 here, or fill my hand back up. Either way, I'm in. But yeah, that deck is fun and it has a bunch of stuff. It has slowly become quasi, almost elemental tribal, but not like so much, because the problem is I put in a Risen Reef, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just put this. It's blue and green. It's kind of broken, and it can get broken, but only if you have a good amount of elementals in your deck. And I didn't at the time. I had a few. I had like Muldrifter and Cloud Thresher, and it just kind of worked out that like, oh, I already had a couple in, so I just went and looked and see what other blue and green elementals there were, and like a lot of them are just kind of like, oh yeah, I would put that in I would put that in anyway. I should just go ahead and put that in. Like was it Cavalier of Gales, which is just an awesome one, and also is top deck synergy, so it was a perfect addition, and I was really glad for that. That's one of the better cards in there. Cavalier of Gales. Oh, the new one, Endurance, from Modern Horizons 2. I put that one in because it's pretty cool. There was another one recently. Oh, I was gonna put in Ashaya, but I think I changed my mind. I don't think I'm going to, because it's not gonna. I thought it was gonna work a certain way, but it turns out it's probably not gonna work the way I want. Because I also recently added Nissa, who shakes the world, which is just a broken planeswalker. At least in War of the Spark standard, she was broken, and a lot of the Pioneer decks that she's in, she's broken. But yeah, I figured why not? I have an extra one. So I put her in, and I put Heart of Yavimaya, not Heart of Yavimaya, Yavimaya, Cradle of something that makes all of your lands forests, in addition to their normal type. So with Nissa, I can basically tap any of my lands and get an additional green mana, which is awesome. because all of my forests, with her out, her static is all of my forests produce an additional green mana. It's pretty cool. And what was the other one they just added to that? I just added something really neat, and I can't remember what it was. Oh well. Anyway, we're going to go to our first little ad break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more random stuff. I don't know, I just started talking about Magic the Gathering for 8 hours, and when we come back, we're going to continue to build out this hillside on the Tomb of Horrors. Come on back. Is it working now? Is it work? Okay. Okay, cool. Fixed my Stream Deck. Yeah, okay. That is my Stream Deck messing up. Alright, we're back. Good lord. Hi, we're back. Hopefully the ads actually functioned, and hopefully they were agreeable. Yeah. Welcome back. We are building the Tomb of Horrors in TaleSpire. We have built the dungeon itself. It is pretty much done. We are on to building the hillside that contains this horrible, horrible dungeon. Horrible in the sense that it is a hellscape from which your player characters will want to flee. That is the TLDR of this dungeon. And you should never throw it at your players as a surprise. Do not, I repeat, do not just dump this on them, or they will leave. You will have to find new players. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, I guess we'll come out a little bit this way. Sure, that works. Sort of. All right. Whew. Yeah, so I've been I haven't been keeping up with too much with the new set that's coming out. The new Innistrad that's coming out for Magic. I kind of have to get caught up because I've seen some spoilers, but not. I think I'm behind. I think I'm a little bit behind. I know there's like a new Champion of the Parish, but different spelling of Parish. It's a zombie, which might just go on my zombie deck, depending on how good it actually is. But yeah, I got to get caught up on those spoilers. I don't even know if they've actually started in earnest. I think they've just been like a few leaks here and there, as far as I know. Alright. Maybe I just build out this way. Just as far as I can. Here. And then just build up to round out that edge. Which is bugging me. Yeah, just come up a little bit more. And then a little bit more. Tilty tilt. Tilt it this way, maybe. And then we end up making the corner again, but not as severe. And at least it's, you know, kind of slopes down a little bit. Blech. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to talk about. So yesterday, I don't know what possessed. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember. Actually, I think it was yesterday. I went through. I was just on YouTube watching, whatever, and I watched a music video, and then I was like, you know what, I want to watch a bunch of the old music videos that I liked, and a lot of them were like the old, some of the, and I don't know if I'm being weird and obscure with my musical tastes, probably, but bear with me. Blackmouth Super Rainbow, some Blackmouth Super Rainbow videos that I had seen, because a lot of the ones, especially the ones for like the early stuff, pre-Cobra Juicy, which is one of their albums, Cobra Juicy, which was a Kickstarter, and Eric Wareheim of Tim and Eric did a weird promo video for it, which is funny. And their videos pre-Cobra Juicy were very homemade. They have a very homemade feel to them. Like someone just went and did a VHS bin dive at a Goodwill and found some footage, some old footage of commercials from the early '80s and kids shows from the '70s, and just kind of edited them together in this weird sort of fever dream, kind of way. Which they're great. I love them. They match the music great. And I found one of the new videos that I hadn't seen yet for for Tobacco, which is the main guy, one of the people from Blackmouth Super Rainbow, Tom. His other project is Tobacco, and he's if you've ever seen Silicon Valley, he did the theme song for Silicon Valley that plays on the opening credits. That is a song off of Fucked Up Friends, the first album. And you'll find that it's like a lot of sampling and like just kind of like hip hop beats, but in a I don't know, distressed fashion, which I kind of like. I like it a lot. But yes, and it's it's different than Blackmouth Super Rainbow, which is more psychedelic, but still has that sort of distressed feel to it, but in a more like warm analog psychedelic kind of thing. Like you're watching PBS on acid in 1985. There you go. That's Blackmouth Super Rainbow in a nutshell. Tobacco is like watching like watching reruns of Small Wonder on a really bad trip, and Biz Markie is playing in the background. That's Tobacco. But yeah, I watched I don't know why I got that description, but yeah, I watched one of their newer videos from one of their I think their latest album, which is Hot, Wet, and Sassy. And it's actually featured, the song is called Babysitter, and it actually features Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, of course. And it's called Babysitter, and it's just it's like sound assault, but I love it. And the video is terrifying and also hilarious at the same time. I don't know how he managed it. I'm not going to spoil it. I want you to go and look up Babysitter by Tobacco on YouTube and watch the video. And I will say this. If one of your fear triggers involves uncanny valley stuff, like animatronics that look too real or not real enough, then maybe don't watch it. But if that's not a problem, for you, I would say definitely watch it. I laughed and was also slightly terrified the whole time. It was great. So yes, Babysitter by Tobacco. I recommend it. But yeah, I kind of went through and I watched a bunch of stuff. I also watched some and found out that he did a project with Aesop Rock called Malibu Ken, and I dove into that a little bit. I had not known about that. That's something I missed. So yeah, spent a little bit of time on Sunday doing that. Good times. Alright, I think we got the face on the front. And, oop, I see a little tiny gap right here. Let me boop and fill that in. And I think it's also here. Yeah. There we go. Cool. It's part of the process is you got to kind of look at it from every angle, and there you go. Fill it in. Oh, there is, whoa, another one, I think. Yep. Yeah, I missed a few over here. See a gap here. Alright, so now we just have... Oh! No, we don't have. The back is done. We already did the back. Look at that! I wasn't even paying attention. We did the whole thing. Alright, so the hilltop, or the top of the hill is pretty much set. We're just going to go back in and hit it with some more details, some more trees maybe, some of the green, kind of fill it in, tie it in with the hillside. Cool. And I will say this is probably going to be the steepest side of the hill. These other sides I'm going to try and make much more gradual in their descent, in their angle of descent. And maybe we leave one side. I don't know if we want to leave one side. Like if we want it to continue off in this direction, or if we want it to be a standalone mountain or a standalone hill. I don't know. Mound, hill, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, either way, let's get to the next step, which is more of this, I think, around the other edges. I think. Seems like that should be next. I kind of want to do that before we do any detail on the top. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we'll just start. A middle finger in the distance just to let the players know the theme of the dungeon. Yes, I should. And welcome, Star Witch. Yes, this is still the tomb. We're done with all of the insides. The tomb itself is done. We are doing the hillside that is encompassing the tomb. We're just getting it all finished. We did the top. We're gonna go back through and add some detail and tie it in with some of these textures. Probably just these this green. We're gonna bring some up like this here and kind of close in some gaps, and maybe not too much. In fact, I probably want to try and clear some of that out from down here, make it a little more sparse. But we'll see. Kind of like this. I like this, but we'll see. For now, we're just gonna continue around the edges of this thing and keep it going. So I think now that we actually have a definitive line as to where the top of this hill is, we can now just kind of go around in a circuit and just kind of drop these in. And we can do it any old which way. Kind of want to keep it in a manner that prevents it from making too harsh of an edge, but it's not super imperative that we do it that way. Yeah, that's fine. There we go. Oop. And a little bit like that. Cool. There we go. So I saw recently, I've been watching some of the, well, not some of, I've been watching Matt Colville's videos that he's been putting out lately regarding his stream and what MCDM is doing right now as far as like their streaming game called The Chain of Acheron. And he said in his latest video that it probably will return, but it won't be a stream. It'll most likely be either, I think he said either just a VOD that you can watch, or it will be like what he did in the past, where it was basically just they play the game and then he will make a video of just him recounting the events, you know, on a video like he normally does, just talking head, him talking to the camera, which I've been fine with. But and I think the issue that he said is that most of his players were like, when he was wanting to get everything back up and running, a lot of them were like, I would rather not. And I think it was they didn't like being on camera, which I can wholeheartedly understand. In fact, I feel a little bit of relief that my camera did not want to cooperate today, but you know, it's no big deal. It's not like I was having like anxiety over it or anything. No, it was just yeah, they just didn't want to be on camera. They didn't like being on camera. And I think part of it's to do because they're professionals in their own fields. And unlike Critical Role, where they are actors and they are their voice actors, that is their you know, their wheelhouse. This is okay, we're on camera, great. Time to ham it up, time to, you know, you know, inhabit this role and do it. For, you know, for the players in Chain of Acheron, they're not actors, they're not voice actors, they're just, you know, just people. I mean, they're in the gaming community like you and me. They might be a little more involved, but they're not actors or voice actors or anything like that. So I mean, I get it. So I mean, it was kind of a bummer. I mean, I tried to catch it when I could. I mean, I say this, I mean, I've seen a handful of episodes. I think actually I'm caught up, but they stopped at a certain point. And yeah, it's been a bit. It's been so long I don't remember if I'm actually caught up or if they finished or if I stopped watching before they actually stopped streaming. But anyway, they've been playing 4th edition recently in a separate game. Just something different, not the chain, just a 4th edition game. And Matt Colville has gone on record as to how much he likes 4th edition, and how it gets a bad rap. And I will say, yeah, I agree. It does get a bad rap. It's not as bad as people say it is. I ran it for years, well into the existence of 5th edition. Like my home group did not want to change. They didn't want to transition into 5e. I guess they didn't want to learn new rules or anything like that. They didn't want to lose I think most of it, they didn't want to lose their characters, which is you know, a legitimate concern, because converting from 4 to 5, which we ended up doing eventually at the start of this year. Was it this year or last year? Last year. Beginning of last year. Converting everything to 5, there was definite changes. There were definite issues And I think even still, and I've talked about this before, even still, I'm not sure some of the players even fully grasp what their 5th edition character versions of what the 5th edition versions of their character are actually capable of. Which, you know, they were high level. They were, I think they were 10th level or something. No, 12th. They were 12th level when we converted. So that's a lot. It's 12 levels of abilities and feats and you know, spells even that you have to kind of take into account and like wrap your head around. It's like, okay, what all can I do? What all? How is this character most effective? That kind of thing. So yeah, that was kind of a pain. But yeah, for whatever reason, and you know, understood they didn't want to lose their characters, which an argument could be made that they kind of did eventually anyway, because Wizards decided to stop supporting 4th edition stuff online, and I was just like, okay, well, looks like we're playing 5e. And that was at the start of 2020. They were just like, all right, we're stopping 4th edition support. Okay, great. Gonna have to play 5th edition. But yeah, I mean, the tools that they had online made it a breeze to run 4th edition. And it's a shame that they're gone, because boy oh boy, was it easy to run that edition with the tools that were at your disposal on the Wizards website, which I guess they just didn't want to keep paying for the server space or whatever for all that, which, yeah, understandable, sure. But given the popularity of 5th edition and all that, and perhaps the popularity, I mean, it's all one company, but I don't know how they divide up their spoils. Given the popularity of Magic the Gathering, you think maybe they could put some of that MTG money into putting those assets back up online, maybe? 4th edition assets? Huh? For Papa? Talking to you, Wizards of the Coast? But no, yeah. So yeah, I'd be interested to see if they have those streams, or if he's going to recount the 4th edition stuff. He was talking about if they end up doing the chain again, it will probably be 4th edition, which I think will be very interesting to see if it actually sparks a new interest in it. And I don't know. I mean, looking back, it's not all that bad. You can homebrew, you can house rule and homebrew your way around the foibles and the weird stuff and the poor, I don't know, the lazy character class mechanics that feel very repetitive, and make it a cool thing, make it something your own, make it something that's tailored to your group. And that's part of one of the good things about 4th edition. It's one of the things that kind of turn people off is that it's very modular. It's very easy to like pick and piece and, you know, build things in an intuitive way, in a way that the DM guide, which is one of the better DM guides in D&D's history, the way the DM guide and the player's handbook and everything like that kind of shows you and teaches you how to do. And 4th edition gave us some great tools that we still use, like death saves and what was it? What was the other one? Death saves and oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Oh, skill challenges, which it's not a I don't want to say, it's not a rote rule or mechanic in D&D, but it's something that can be easily utilized by GMs to kind of, you know, illustrate a an epic like chase through the city, or trying to close a portal that's got horrible things pouring through it in the middle of combat, or yeah, I mean, it's just a different way to interact with the game. And it uses the skills, which in 3.5, if I'm remembering correctly, they were more just utility. They of course, you got everyone spamming for spot checks. I remember that. Or listen, because there was spot, listen. What's the other one? They had a lot of the observational skills split up into weird other like sub skills, from what I remember. Because I know there was spot, there was listen. Was insight a skill? I don't remember. I mean, I've got the books right behind me. I could just look, but I don't want to stop doing this. I've got all my books right behind me. They're behind my green screen. In fact, I don't need my green screen. Do I? Do I? There we go. Since my camera's not working, why do I need my green screen? Good question. So yeah, I would be interested to see what he does with 4E. I'm hoping it sparks an interest, because he went on to talk about how he would like to do some custom content for 4E. Which is just, so I was just like, what? Okay, cool. I don't know how much interest you're gonna get with that. I mean, I'm interested, and I'm not even running 4th edition anymore. And I'm interested. But I think it would be cool, and I'm hoping it sparks some interest. If not, whoops. There we go. If only to get, maybe, I don't know, maybe Wizards puts the 4th edition assets back up. Maybe, hopefully. Here's hoping. Or maybe MCDM manages to get their own version of those up somehow on their site, which I think would be awesome. I mean, that would just be amazing. I'd be like, oh, hey, I have to go back to my players. Like, you guys wanna go back to 4E? I don't know if they'd say yes at this point. I think they've played 5E enough now, and they've seen how sort of I don't know how intuitive everything is, and how much more it feels like old D&D, that they'd probably just be like, nah, I think we're just gonna stick. Because that was one of the things I missed with 4th edition. I missed the Vancian magic system. I missed having spell slots and all that, and you know, it was one of the biggest like, I don't know, departures from the main, from D&D. Felt like the biggest non D&D thing about it was that it was not, the magic system was so removed from what had existed previously, and I never really got used to it. Anytime I was like building a character, an NPC or a bad guy, and if they had spells, I'd always just be like, God, I wish you had spell slots. That kind of thing. It's like, okay, I get this once a day, I get this once a day, I get this once per short rest, I get these at will. Great. But it didn't feel like a spell book, you know, especially for like spellcasters. It felt like, okay, I have these special abilities. That's it. You can, you know, you flavor it up with role play. It's like, oh, I read this from the spell book, and now I have this spell for the day. Sure, but still, it just feels like you're just swapping it out. You're just swapping out an ability for another, and it really took you. I felt like it feels like it took you out of the the RP of it. But I think that was my biggest bugaboo with 4th edition. Aside from that, I was fine with it. I mean, sure, it had it wasn't without other issues, but I mean, those I could tolerate and do some homebrew around, or house rule around, and you know, ameliorate those issues. But the lack of Vancian magic was one of the things that I really was glad to see behind me when we finally started 5th edition. I was like, oh yes, spell slots. But yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping that they're sort of shining a light on 4th edition maybe sparks a little bit more interest in it. Maybe, I mean, I don't, it's not that I plan on running 4th edition again. It's just having that option was great, and having the tool, just having those tools online were amazing. They were great. Like the custom monster builder, that was freaking awesome. You could just, it was just a library of all the monsters in 4th edition, and you could, you know, pick one, and if you could customize it, you could just pop out an ability and replace it with another one from another monster. It even had a search thing where you could search search for a name of the ability, or search for a name of the monster if you knew the monster but not the ability, and then you could just take the ability from that monster, add it into this new creature that you're making, and there you go, all set. You could adjust it to hit, the damage, the dice type, everything. It was an awesome tool. And when they got rid of it, I was just like, oh no. Why? I had made so many, like, my account had so many custom monsters on it. It was just ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have that many, because there was the character builder and the monster builder. They had an actual virtual tabletop for a little bit, way back when 4th edition was just picking up, and I actually ran some games in that. That was actually really nice, but I think it went over to Game Simulator or something like that when they kicked it, and that was well before 2020. I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years before 2020 that they kicked the virtual tabletop. I don't know why. Probably same reason they got rid of the assets in 2020. They didn't want to pay for server space. But yeah, I think it would be neat to see some interest in fourth edition, some non-meme hate interest in 4th edition. Because their online magazine, Arcadia, if you are interested in D&D and you play 5th edition and you want some content that isn't strictly from Wizards of the Coast and is interesting and very well thought out and actually presented in a very nice package, well illustrated and curated, check out Arcadia on the MCDM site. It is a good magazine. There's 7 issues out right now. The 7th one just came out, and they're all full of just excellent. Each one I think has 3 articles. They're not big magazines by any stretch, and I think that's good because you don't want filler. There's no filler. It's all good stuff. Even if you don't end up using all of it, it's, you know, all of it's like, oh, I could use that, but I don't need that, but I could see myself using that. It's that kind of thing. And yeah, it's a great tool for GMs and players too. They have some player content. I think they had some some new Bard stuff a couple issues ago, or maybe it must have been like 1 or 2 issues ago. Some new Bard class stuff, like some, I think, new schools of Bards, which I thought were really neat. But yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff. I recommend it. And I don't know if since the chain is no longer going to be streamed, it kind of reinforces the whole Critical Role. I'll say not really catchphrase, but not fable. Caveat, maybe. It's like for people who watch the show and they think, oh, I'll play D&D, it's going to be exactly like this. It's not going to be exactly like that. It's 100% not going to be that. I mean, it might if your group is a bunch of voice actors and actors that really like getting into character and enjoy playing the game. Then sure, it's probably going to be close, or at least comparable. But if that's not the case, then your game is most certainly not going to be Critical Role, and you shouldn't try and force it to be that. Which I don't think they were trying to do with the chain. I think they were just trying to do, because there was the outcry from the fans, and from Twitch and YouTube, like who followed Matt and his stuff there, and all the game. He talked about the games, and everyone was like, "Oh, can we get it on stream? Can we get it on stream?" So it was less. I think it was less MCDM wanting their game to be like Critical Role. It was the fans wanting the stream and hoping it would be like Critical Role. I think that was what happened. But again, it was what we just talked about. Those players, they're not actors. They're not voice actors. They're just gamers. They're gamers and people who work in the field to some capacity. So it's again not going to be your game is not going to be the same as the Mighty Nine or the Vox Machina or whatever. So yeah, it's I don't know if it's if it's blame should be set on Critical Role, but not really. It's sort of like a double-edged sword. They brought more of a spotlight to the game of D&D, and gaming in general, just RPGs, just D&D and other role-playing games, because they do other stuff too. But by the same token, people who've never played, they see that and they're like, oh, that's what D&D is, and then they expect it. They expect that all the time. So that's the bar that's been set for stream games. If you have a stream, which has sort of prevented me from wanting to do a stream game. I mean, I've of course been in stream games, with the Z&D and all that, and we've never really aspired to that. It was just kind of it's just us getting together and playing some D&D, trying out some cool DM stuff, and it's a chance for me especially to actually play, because I hardly ever get to play. I'm the resident, the designated GM in most cases. So yeah. So yeah, it's fun. And yeah, it's fun to play, and it's not as consistent sometimes, because I think we kind of let it get to the point where we play for a little bit, and then one of us or some of us will get sick of what we're doing and we'll immediately go to something else. And I get too invested in my characters, and I'm like, no, I want to keep going with this one. I want to keep building. I have more story to tell with this character, and it's a little outside of my play style. But that being said, it does give me the opportunity to play, which I very much like. I think I need to find like a long like a campaign that's just starting out, and they plan on going for a while, and I don't have to run it. I just have to play, and it's, you know, matches my schedule. That's the big thing. Gosh, yeah. I mean, you would think working from home your schedule's more clear, but not really. Well, I guess in my case, because I took on all this stuff during the pandemic. I took on running private games. I took on running monthly games. I took on the running games through tour guide games. And so I've got all this other stuff, and streaming is another thing. So now I have streams too during the week that I have to account for and schedule around. So yeah, it's definitely tested my bandwidth as a person, and actually informed me more of what that bandwidth actually is. For sure. It is a low bandwidth. All things considered. It's like I got work that takes up a good portion of it. No matter what that work is, I gotta have that mindset, and that's gotta be, you know, the big portion of my time and energy goes toward that. Even if it is work at home, I gotta be like, okay, I have to be aware of this. I have to pay attention to every little thing, because even more so now, because I don't have the luxury, quote unquote, of someone coming to me and being like, did you see this email from that? You're just like coming up to my desk and saying, hey, did you see this email from this? I'm like, no, I actually have to pay attention to pretty much every email that comes in the off chance that it's something that pertains, that, you know, requires my attention. And oftentimes it's just more of a scrolling through the emails at the start of the day. Is like, nope, not for me. Okay. But, you know, other times, like, you get emails off hours and you're just like, uh-oh, is this for me? And that, you know, it's you know, more bandwidth. It's something. And then, you know, of course, I have to have, you know, personal life, and I have to, you know, time with my wife and my pets, my little kitty cat here who's staring at me like I owe her something. What? Yeah. Hi. What are you doing? Silly. You're silly. And that's the other big portion of my bandwidth, and everything else is ancillary and not as important. So it often gets put on the back burner or taken off the stove completely, to mix my metaphors here. So yeah. I just recently had to preempt indefinitely one of my monthly games, just because I didn't have interest. I didn't have enough people buying tickets for my Sunday game. So yeah, I mean, it's not just me. Other people have other things that they, you know, might have to do on Sunday. Especially now that things are starting to pick back up, whether or not they actually should. We'll see. Here's hoping that It's gonna be safe soon. Safer soon. Yeah, trying not to burn the candle at both ends. Often with work, it allows me to do other things that I wouldn't be able to do if I had like an actual office job, which is nice. It's like if it's slow, I can just like take my phone with me just in case I get a text or an email and go do the dishes or go do some laundry. Stuff like that. To vacuum. Get some chores done. So the apartment's looking nice. But yeah. So that's a new nice thing from this situation. And the one downside is that the cats, both of them, are just sort of attached to me now. The one right here more so than the other, but she is fixated on me, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't know. At least she listens to me. If she was fixated on me but didn't heed my commands or anything, that would be one thing. But she's at least well behaved, and yeah, if not a little fixated also on food a bit. She's silly. There we go. Starting to look like a thing. Starting to look like a thing. I think we're just gonna like stick on this side and just come down a little bit. Yeah, let's move our grid. Let's see. We want it to overlap and we want to stick out as far as we can. I guess we do have to just kind of like come up into the tile, the object above a bit. Yeah, and just stick out as far as we can to try and make this not as steep as the front. The other thing we have to do, we have to make that skull face on the top of the hill. And we will get to that. Not today, but we will definitely get to that. I have to, and I keep meaning to do it, I have to look on Tales Tavern to see if I can find any examples to spark my creation of it. Get some inspiration. Bardic inspiration. But on the point of bandwidth, I mean, I've been trying to find time to record more episodes of my Final Fantasy Tactics VOD. And I mean, every Sunday comes along when I'm not doing anything in particular. And I'll be like, okay, maybe I can do it today. And then I just fall into the trap of, oh, I'm actually relaxing. I'm actually getting a day to do nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. And then it just ends up being that. It's just a day of doing nothing, where it's really not that much energy to record some episodes. I mean, it's a little bit of work, but it's not. It's certainly easy work. It's just a matter of getting up the gumption to get everything set up and, you know, get everything, you know, prepared and have everything, make sure everything's working, and doing a test and making sure you're taking notes as to what time, and taking time notes, and yeah, it's a whole thing, but it's fun. It is fun once you get going, because I like that game and I would like to play it more. and record it and have it on the VOD. We finally got my favorite character. We finally got Reese. So it's just fun from here on out. And I've been, well, I haven't been. I leveled up a bit in there just so the next few combats wouldn't be so bonkers hard. And I believe, oh yeah, we got some we got some broken stuff. The next few combats are not going to be a concern, that's for sure. Because with Reese, we managed to make the game easier. As the game, simultaneously, the game was trying to screw us over. We managed to turn it around on the game and be like, no. This is gonna happen. not the thing you say, game. This is what's gonna happen. It was great. And I will not go into that too much. I'll leave it for the inevitable return of the VOD. Because it's just too good. It's too bad I did not actually get it recorded. I wish I had it on. I wish I had it recorded, but nope. I was just playing and leveling up, and the thing happened, and then and then the rest of the game got real easy. So yeah. I'm hoping to get back to that. Get back to doing some tactics VOD on my YouTube. It's just finding the time to do it is difficult. I just have to like force myself one Sunday, which I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna make for good content, but force myself to record more. Which once I get going and playing the game, it's not gonna be an issue. It's just like, oh yeah, I like this game. Why wasn't I doing this before? Should always be doing this. I mean, it's tough. You kind of have to be in the right mood, especially because it's just me. If it were me and another person doing content, at least you have someone to bounce stuff off of, and someone else to kind of pick up the carry the load of keeping the air filled with dialogue, monologue, whatever, something, a story, interesting tidbits, anecdotes, things like that. But when it's just you just kind of have to keep like, well, this is more or less stream of consciousness babbling. Bear with me, I'm a lunatic. So yeah, so like the game, those streams more or less boil down to me talking about the game, talking about what's going on. Occasionally I'll try and make a joke, quote unquote joke, and we just go from there. So to be able to do that and make it feel authentic and make it feel fun, like I'm having fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm sure it shows in the recording. So you definitely want to be in the right frame of mind doing that. You don't want to force it, or else it's just gonna not be great. Or at the very least, okay. I can hope for mediocre, at least. And I'm okay with that. I've been, keeping up my editing quote skills, kind of skills. I'm learning as I go. Premiere is actually not that bad once you understand how to kind of work it a bit. It's kind of intuitive. Like a lot of the stuff in there, I just kind of like was playing around with, and I did a few of the tutorials that are in the program, and I was pretty much set to do basic basic editing, and then from there I looked up how to do a few specific things for some of the other elements that I wanted to look a specific way, and I did those. And if I wanted to do them again, there's no way I could. There's no, without looking at that tutorial again. But yeah, I mean, it's a different monster, and because I'm used to Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. Those are my three Adobe programs that I've used in very frequently for work. Those are my wheelhouse: Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator, and Adobe Photoshop. Photoshop more so now. I think with this job, this is the most I've used Photoshop. Like 2 jobs ago, or 3 jobs ago. Actually, no, my last job we used Illustrator quite a lot. And the job before that, it was all InDesign with, Illustrator and Photoshop, augmenting that, because InDesign is a publishing program. It's more for publication, which is what I was mostly dealing in, printing books and stuff, not actual publications like novels and stuff. Like, I'm talking about like yearbooks for high schools and programs for conferences, and programs for football games and stuff like that. Little stuff, that need to be saddle stitched and all that fun, that kind of thing. So that was mostly InDesign, which I grew to love. I didn't know, I taught myself InDesign for that job. More or less. I bought myself a tutorial book because I had only used it here and there before. But this was like back in 2012. And I got a tutorial book, and I taught myself how to use InDesign, and I really like it. I use it for other stuff too, like all my ads that I was doing on Instagram for the stream. I did those all in InDesign because it just made it easier to make basically one ad file, and all I had to do was swap out layers and change what the ad was for. I had a layer for each game that I was promoting, and I just swap out the layer and maybe swap out some text and export it as a JPEG or whatever, and there you go. There's your new ad, all set. But yeah, I've been using Photoshop for the new gig quite a lot because a lot of their assets are digital. So Photoshop's great for making like web banners and Instagram ads and Photoshop email blasts and things like that, because it's a raster program at heart. It deals in pixels, and when you deal in pixels, the web doesn't really matter, because everything you see on a website is going to be 72 dpi unless it's something you're going to download at high resolution, right? Of course, everyone out there who knows how web resolution and print resolution works. And if you actually do, hi, how are you? Do you work in the industry, and have you ever been handed something by a client that's 72 dpi and they want it blown up to 10 foot by 6 foot? If you do, you know my pain. If that has happened to you, you know my pain. Anyway, we're going to take our second little ad break, and when we come back, we're going to be doing more of this. Just more me rambling and placing these little rocks everywhere. Be right back. We're back. Hi. We're playing TaleSpire, and we're building the dungeon, infamous dungeon, the Tomb of Horrors. The dungeon itself is done. It's complete. We are right now just building the hillside that is around the dungeon, and the swamp, the surrounding swamp. So yeah, it's coming along pretty good. We got the top done, and we have the front. Well, the top's not done. We have to touch it up with some texture. We're going around and doing the sides now in a very it's kind of layered look. We're probably gonna have to go in and we're gonna break it up with a little bit of this once it's all kind of laid out. So that'll be good. It'll end up looking okay, I hope. So yeah, let's see. Where did I leave off? There it is. That's where I am. I'm right here. Okay, where's my grid? It's all the way down there. There we go. Let's see here. Copy that. All right. So yeah, my Stream Deck is still being a little iffy. I don't know if you've noticed the delay and the for the brakes. It's taken a second for it to swap over to the bumper screen. And that's because I have to do it manually. I have to go over into my Streamlabs, click on the bumper so that it does it. Normally, I just press the button on my Stream Deck and it does it. But for whatever reason, it's being persnickety. So, yeah. It's not doing a lot of the things that button is supposed to do. And I don't know if it's just because it's a multi-action button. I don't know if it's just a thing in Streamlabs that those things eventually, one thing will, forget what it's supposed to do, or the link to that action gets changed or removed or moved somewhere else, and it loses that action as part of the thing, and then everything else just kind of falls apart. Kind of what it feels like is happening, but I don't know. There's no way for me to tell for sure, because as far as I can tell, when I go into the utility for the Stream Deck, everything's there. Oops, there we go. So, I don't know. I have to mess with it. Something else was messing up on stream recently. Oh no, it was for I was doing my private game of D&D last week, and all of the songs that I had uploaded on my Roll20 account for, playing during combat, were gone. They wouldn't play. And I was like, oh, good. So no combat music then. Super awkward. I was just like, what the crap? Oh my god. So yeah, I have to go in. I have to remember to go in and fix that. Actually, I have a game tomorrow night. Actually, that game is tomorrow night. So I should probably fix that either tomorrow during the day or right after I finish up with this, which is unlikely because after this I'm probably just going straight to bed. Yeah, that I don't know what it is. It's been a cursed week as far as technology for me. I don't know. I have no idea, because there's the issues with Streamlabs and the issues with my Stream Deck, and then Roll20's messing up, and then God, what else? Oh, freaking Skyrim. When I was trying to load that mod today, it was bugging out on me. What else? I'm sure there's a handful of other things that I can gripe about. Let's see. Did the Switch do anything? Let's look at this. Let's point a finger at the Switch. Did the Switch piss me off? No. Actually, the Switch has been fine. The Switch, actually, that's the easiest thing to stream. Aside from me having to remember to turn the 4K capture volume down. Which I forgot to do once, and that was one very weird episode of Ni no Kuni, where you couldn't hear me barely at all, but you could hear the game because it was nice and loud. Jeez. We managed to do that. It's a simple thing I just have to remember to do before actually loading the game up on my secondary screen. Yeah. trying to think what else was something with my Mac. No, not really. Was it some Bluetooth something? Maybe it was. I remember fighting some Bluetooth thing this week, trying to get it to work, and it just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it was a couple weeks ago, and I'm just. It's all built up to now. All this technology, all these issues they're just culminating now in this. Oh man. I love when my cat just kind of walks into the room and stares at me from the floor, just expecting me to do something. Like, what do you want? I do this every week. You should know by now. This is just what I do at this time. She's normally pretty intuitive. Especially when it comes to food. She got an internal clock as to when she's supposed to be fed. It's usually off by 45 minutes about on average. She's usually wanting to be fed 45 minutes earlier than she's supposed to be, but that's just because she wants some food. So yeah, but aside from that, if it's not food related, I guess she just kind of doesn't really get it or care, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna try to keep with the game plan, which was to not go as far down. But I guess if we break it up a bit, that's fine. That kind of creates a little bit of a variation in the pattern, or a break in pattern, which is what we want. We don't want a pattern. We want it to look natural. So let's see. Trying not to go down too far and trying to come out as far as we can to make it a much less steep side of this hill. So I've been going through and I've been watching all of The Simpsons on Disney Plus, because there's a big gap in episodes that I've missed, just because they kind of, I don't even know what season it was. I want to say season 19 or so. It was right, I think it was a few seasons before they redid the intro to update it, because there were a few seasons where that intro was looking real ragged. Like whatever they filmed it on was starting to deteriorate big time. Yeah, they I think it was around season 20 something that they did a new intro, and updated it a little bit to make it cleaner, and I guess easier to swap out, because I noticed that they did change, like they do variations now with a couple things, not just what Bart writes on the chalkboard. It's now with like what flies up across the screen when the Simpsons, before the Simpsons logo pops up through the clouds. What billboard, one of the billboards in the intro also changes. Again, what Bart writes on the chalkboard changes. The instrument that Lisa plays in the band room changes occasionally. Sometimes it's a tuba, sometimes it's a violin, sometimes it's her good old saxophone. And I think there might be others, but those are the ones that I noticed. And now instead of Homer almost getting hit by the car in the garage, he gets hit by the car and gets knocked through the door. Because yeah, why not? And I think we're coming up on. I did see a couple of the guest couch gags. I saw the Bill Plimpton one, and I saw the John Kay one, which has not aged well. Because the whole time you're just like, ugh, it's John Kay. Ugh. Which is a shame. It's a shame because it's such a shame. But hey, screw him. Anyway, yeah, the Bill Plimpton one was cool. I know that there's a Don Hertzfeld one, which I really want to see. And I have to, keep my eye out for it. But yeah, it's just sort of been a thing to have on while I'm doing other stuff. Just have The Simpsons on, because there's just decades of episodes just to have on in the background. I'm trying to do other things. I'm trying to pay attention at least a little bit to kind of keep apprised as to what's actually happening. And I will say this: the seasons that I missed because I was like, oh well, they're not as good, and I was using seasons 3 and 4 as sort of the yardstick, and those are just great because those are the seasons where Conan was writing, and oh my god, they're really tough to hold a candle to, right? They're just, it's the monorail episode. My god, just so many great ones. But yeah, that was why I was just kind of like, oh, they're never going to be as good as that, and that's unfair. That's not fair. So I decided to give them a shot, and they're not bad. I mean, there's obviously some that are just kind of like, but and I don't think we've yet reached the part where it's the most recent iteration. The style and the sort of the animation process that is the most current, because I know it has changed again, and it is really different. Right now, the big difference you notice is that you don't see the cell shadow. You don't see the shadow of the animation cell in the background. But you can tell it's all been done digitally, which is a little jarring at first, but then it's just like, oh, it's still The Simpsons. It's just cleaner, cleaner looking, right? Which I don't know. Part of the charm was sort of the hand drawn, almost, well, not really hand drawn, but the old animation style, but and given its roots in the being a very indie animation kind of thing by Matt Groening. Yeah, it just kind of felt initially when the big change happened that it lost its heart almost to me, but it really is fine. It's everything. The writing is still, well, at least where I am now, and I think I'm in season 23 or 24, something like that. The writing's still pretty good, and the gags they don't feel stale somehow, which is part of the reason I was like, it's just gonna be more of a. But some of the plot devices, some of the plot devices are a little odd at first, and I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who plans on going and, binging them and getting caught up, but they never really repeat themselves. They do occasionally, well, I'll say they do often go against something that's happened previously. Like a lot of the time, like they just fully, like the whole thing with Principal Skinner not actually being Seymour Skinner. It was like that Mad Men thing where he was in Vietnam and he that was for Mad Men it was the Korean War, but in Vietnam he took over the identity of the actual Seymour Skinner and came back to Springfield and all that. But at the end of that episode they said, we'll never talk about this again, and they don't. Actually, no, there is one episode I remember where Bart calls him Armin Tanzarian, but I think they were making the gag that about another plot line that they completely ignore. And so that was funny. But yeah, they just completely ignore it now. They just like, yes, he's Seymour Skinner and Agnes is actually his mom and all this other stuff. Because he has like flashbacks as, as actual Seymour Skinner, back in the day before he would have gone to Vietnam, and he's still Seymour Skinner, that kind of thing. Or he was still living with his mom way back then, and according to the episode where he assumed the identity, he only started living with her after he got back from Vietnam, that kind of thing. But stuff like that where they just kind of ignore it, but they don't. They maybe acknowledge the fact that they're doing it once, and then they just move on. It's like, all right, yeah, we're ignoring this. We're moving on. Which is fine, because, I mean, you kind of write yourself into a corner with that. Or not even that. I mean, these were other writers that wrote themselves into a corner. Wrote other writers into the corner. Or wrote themselves into the corner, and then they somehow got out of the corner, and then other writers got into that corner and decided to just kind of walk on the paint. Whatever. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, they have some pretty funny stuff where they go back on other older episodes and revisit stuff, but they never really rehash old plots unless they're doing it as a gimmick, which even then I don't think they've even done yet. Maybe they did. I don't know. It all blurs together, but yeah, some of the plots feel like, okay, this is a little weird, but I'll roll with it. Like some really weird stuff. Like there's one about Moe's bar rag. That's a little weird. It's like, okay, that's okay, but it's just more of a what is it? A vehicle to do sort of like an ensemble cast kind of thing with the characters to kind of, take it out of Springfield and all that fun stuff and put them into other plot lines, unrelated, and, make it feel like the times that they did the Bible. They did an episode of Bible stories previously. They did an episode of Tall Tales. I think they may have also done an episode of Aesop's Fables. But yeah, it's like episodes of that where the characters they take on the roles of the characters in the fables or whatever, or the tales, and yeah, that kind of thing. It was that kind of thing, which is weird because they've done so many of them that all they are now having to invent vehicles to do this with. It's just weird. But I mean, it definitely, it was new. It was something unexpected, and it was interesting. It felt a little bit forced. Like, oh, really? Okay, this is weird, but okay. To me, anyway. But yeah, yeah, so far it hasn't reached the point where I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel like The Simpsons anymore. So that's good, I guess. Did I accidentally come up a bit with this? I guess so. Hold on. There we go. Huh. Or no, it's just an optical... I've created an optical illusion for myself. Weird. And I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this on Saturday for my Skyrim playthrough. I played a little bit more Ni no Kuni, like even like right after the stream on Thursday, I just kept playing Ni no Kuni. I just went through and I did all of the errands, the Swift Solution errands to get a bunch of items and gold. Just to kind of, make some money and get some cool items. And I did a little bit of exploring on the island of Hamelin. There's a path behind, up it, like around to the left and behind the mountains on Hamelin that you can, there's like a little shore that you can park your boat off to the left side of the shoreline of Hamelin, and there's a little trail that leads up into the mountains, and there's some pretty tough enemies up on that path. But at the end of the path is a it looks like a monument stone that has a language you can't read on it, and there was a forage point for a sun shard. Which is what you need to make jumbo sun drops. You need a certain number of sun shards and a sun drop, and you use the alchemy thing to make a jumbo sun drop, which we're eventually going to need to do because we only have a finite number of jumbo sun drops. In fact, I think we only have... I don't think we have any left. We have plenty of regular sun drops, finally. There was a point in the game where we're like, how are we going to get these? We don't have any. But yeah, they made sure that as long as you kind of grind a little bit, you have a fair amount. You should have a fair amount of it. The sun drops and moon drops and star drops, all that stuff. But yeah, we did that, and we did a bunch of the Swift Solution stuff, and a lot of them actually brought you back to... There's actually one where you have to go back to Ding Dong Dell and go back to Alma Moon and all these other places that you've been previously. So a lot of running around, and it is interesting, but it probably wouldn't make for great streaming content just because we've done it all before. It wouldn't be... I mean, we've been to all these places before. And so, meh. It's just busy work to get done off stream. And we went back and talked to the Deku tree. No, the old whatever the big talking tree in Ni no Kuni is called. I forget his name. The Great Oak. I think it's the Great Oak. And he gave us another thing. I forget what he gave us. Oh, he gave us a gem, an ability gem. I think it was Flame Wall or something crazy like that. So that's another thing we have to kind of look at once we play again and figure out which of our familiars we should give that to. Probably the Griffin. It seems like something nice and broken that we can give our most broken familiar. So yeah. It's funny because, like, when I played that game the first time, I wasn't as into it as I am now, but it's certainly grown on me, and I think I'm more into it now than I was before. So yeah. Let's see. Let's see. How far we came pretty far here. We only have what? 3 more levels to do? Let's do it. Let's get it done. Let's get it done today, son. I'm pretty sure we can get this. And again, it's not going to encompass the entire dungeon below. As you can see, those are going to stick out, and that's going to stick out. But I think we can probably put some of this muddy swamp ground underneath, like along, like as a floor, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe a maybe. Oh wait, we checked it before. The water level actually kind of covers it up. Here, let's see. Whoop. So yeah, if we bring it up to about there, yeah, you can't really. You can kind of see that one, but again, we're gonna come down a little bit more. It might be covered. You can kind of see that one. That's the only one that's gonna be visible. And if we really want to, I would say we can put like maybe a ceiling on that one to conceal it a little bit. But aside from that, I think we're fine. The rest are very, very much concealed. Even if you zoom in, you can't quite... Oh wait, I have my freaking flashlight on too. There. If we turn off build mode, yeah, you can kind of see some stuff, but yeah, like that, you can't see anything. So yeah, some of it's gonna be, you know, honor system for your players. Like, all right, don't look around too much. But again, I mean, they're working on Fog of War for this too, so we'll see. We'll see how that works. Okay, there we go. It's fine. As long as the green slider doesn't move, we are fine. Back into build mode. Back with the light, the flashlight thing. Boom, son. Alright. But yeah, Ni no Kuni is very... I've never played Pokemon, but it seems to be in that same sort of genre, but nowhere near as popular. That's for sure. It's like you get all these familiars and you train them, or you don't train them. You fight with them, and some are... I won't say that there aren't some that work best against others, but there are some that have elemental attacks, and some have elemental vulnerabilities and elemental resistances, but they aren't really divided by that. They're divided by their type, which is more of a mechanic on which of your characters can actually synergize with them best. It's less of a mechanic as to which one can, if two were to fight, which is more likely to win, kind of thing. I don't know if that makes sense. And having never played Pokemon, I'm speaking as if I know the rules of the freaking game. I mean, for what I know about it, my limited understanding of the game, it seems like the Pokemans are divided up by their type, like plant type, or water type, or fire type, that kind of thing. And certain ones work best against others. Am I getting this right? Is Grandpa getting this right, kids? So yeah, I mean that's not how the familiars work in Ni no Kuni. They have types, but it's more it affects which of your characters actually synergizes best with them. That's it. And some of them have certain elemental attacks, and some of them have certain elemental resistances, but they're not like they're not based on their type. Like some of a certain type might have an elemental attack, others might have a different elemental attack. It just depends on the flavor of that one, of each one. So yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that, but oh, it's not like Pokemon, that's right. But yeah, it's fun. I don't really have a desire to play Pokemon because it's like a whole other thing. It's too much. I already play Magic the Gathering. I already play D&D. This is enough. I think we're good. This is filling my slot for little monster fighting game. Ni no Kuni. It's scratching that itch. If there ever was in fact an itch in me for that. This is scratching it. I'm trying to decide what to play after that. Because I mean eventually we're gonna come to the end of the game. Sooner rather than later. I mean I think we still have a ways to go. But we're further than I've been in it before. My first playthrough, we only got to Hamelin, and then that was it. I stopped playing. This is the furthest I've been in this game, so in Ni no Kuni. So everything is new. And yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Like when I figured out that weird game thing, or that weird, I don't know, off synergy thing that the game tries to sneak onto you. When they give you Swain, he has a Hurly-Burly familiar, who is a military type familiar, but Swain does not synergize with military type familiars. Ollie does. So you like, I didn't figure it out till like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh wait a minute, what the hell? I was just playing it in between streams. I'm like, why does he have? Wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. So I just gave him to I just gave the Burly to Ollie, and all of a sudden, we're doing decent amounts of damage to stuff again. Because for whatever reason, our Mighty Might it wasn't doing so great. I mean, we leveled him up, and he's like 3 forms into whatever metamorph thing he ends up gonna be. I think he's 1 step away from there. And I don't know if it's just the whatever one I chose, but it's not as strong. I don't know if everything's just getting stronger. That might be it. Maybe everything's just getting stronger than faster than he's getting stronger. But the Burly is plenty strong, or strong enough. Or maybe it's just kind of throwing me off because the Griffin is so freaking strong and doing hundreds of points of damage every time it does its special attack. And every time it pecks something, it's doing like 80, 70. It's ridiculous. I'm glad it's on my team. I'll say that. Oh boy. But yeah, I mean, Who would have thought Esther would have the most powerful frickin' familiar? Just from her demeanor, she's already, hi, I got a harp. Alright. And then she loses her familiar and it eviscerates everything. Alright. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hopefully I didn't mess up that line of stones back there. I think we're okay. I think I may have somehow jumped up a level? Up a level? I don't know. Seems like I'm... Because there, I'm like... I don't know. Maybe not. I think we're fine. Yeah, we're probably fine. I don't know if we accomplished what we wanted to. I don't think we're coming off as less steep as we were wanting to. Oh well, I think it's fine. Okay. Oh, you know what I watched yesterday? We watched, me and the wife, watched the first two Austin Powers. Whew, boy. I liked them when they came out, and I think the ad nauseum impressions of Austin Powers combined with maybe my sense of humor having evolved since I was... It came out in 97? I was 16? Yeah. My sense of humor having evolved since I was 16. A lot of it's just hammering the same joke at you over and over and over again, and then kind of a flimsy transition to the next joke that they hammer at you over and over and over again, and repeat, and that's it, and that's the movie. Because it's like you have this. I will say the second one I did laugh at a lot more. I think the whole mini-me thing I liked, and God rest Vern Troyer, because that whole thing was just absurd, and it was just that was I think that still resonates with me, the absurd comedy, not the here's a dick joke that we're going to continue to kind of come at from several different angles and phrasing. that kind of thing. It's I don't know. The first one was definitely the rougher of the two. The second one I think I enjoyed a little bit more, even though it certainly wasn't without its moments of okay, come on. Like they do, I don't know, it just felt like the action was ancillary to the jokes that they were trying to rush to. They're trying to sprint toward the joke. Okay, get to the next joke. Whatever happens in between here, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, sure, he goes over here and does this. How does he get away? It doesn't matter. He just goes over here and does this. And then we do this and this, and then the next joke. That kind of thing. That's what it felt like. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too judgmental on it, but yeah. for as much as the character was parodied and parroted and I don't know. For as much as some people seem to like the character just because they can kind of do an impression of him. I don't know if that's the reason, but it seems like that. It seems like because they certainly do it often enough. And I have no specific examples. It just seemed like, maybe it was for a time. It's certainly not so much the case nowadays, but certainly when it was coming out, people were just like left and right doing the frickin' impression. It's just like, all right, yeah, we get it. Yeah, all right. Yes, baby. No, you don't make me horny. I'm sorry. But we still have to watch. I still haven't seen Goldmember. That's one I have to watch. And if it's gonna keep trending in the right in this direction, maybe I'll like it better than the first two. I certainly like the second one better than the first one. I don't know. Although, if... well, I shouldn't say this because I haven't seen it. If the other movies of that era by Mike Myers are to be taken into consideration, The Love Guru would indicate that, no, it's not going to be as good. And I will not like it more than the first two. But I haven't seen The Love Guru. I've only heard it's horrible, so... I don't know. Is it just a pattern? Is it just because, like, the same thing happens, like the first few movies, right, are good and it seems, we'll just use actors who come off of SNL as an example. And we'll limit it down to two. So we're going to go with Mike Myers and Adam Sandler. So with Mike Myers, we had Wayne's World. We had So I Married an Axe Murderer. We had... Was there another one? There were definitely those. Wayne's World 2, sure. And then after that, you had Austin Powers, sure. Which was a hit, obviously. Whether or not we wanted it to be one. I mean, at the time, sure. But now, looking back, and then from then on out, it's hard to pick a movie of his that I really like and would watch again. And then you have Adam Sandler, who did kind of the same thing, but also went in another direction completely at the same time. Because you have the very early stuff, the Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, which I like. And I mean, they're not other people's cup of tea, understandably. But I like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, and Big Daddy is one of the best ones. That's my favorite of those three. And then it starts going downhill at like Mr. Deeds for me. At Mr. Deeds, it just starts to get a little weird, and not as funny, I guess. And then 50 First Dates, I kind of like. That one's okay. But I don't know. Yeah, it's hit or miss. But then lately, especially the later ones, I think I can pick out maybe one that I liked, and that was the Halloween one that he did for Netflix last year. That one was okay. And there's some Happy Madison productions that I like Grandma's Boy. Grandma's Boy is freaking hilarious. And but I mean, aside from that, like a lot of his stuff felt like it was going downhill, like Pixel and what was the other one? Little Nicky. Oh man, Little Nicky, I really didn't like. But yeah, I mean, just it seemed like a downward trend. But then he also had freaking Punch Drunk Love, which I liked, and it was very not very big departure from what he did. And then Spanglish, and then Uncut Gems, oh my god, I'm blanking on the name, but which I haven't seen, so of course I'm blanking on the name. But you know, it was up for an Oscar, so yeah, it just seems like. I don't know. They have your standard arc, and you can either live and die by it, in the case of Mike Myers, or you can try and do other things and flex your muscle as an actor, and maybe I just haven't looked hard enough for other Mike Myers stuff. Maybe he has tried. I haven't really, paid attention. But I will say, it might be that he's done them, but they just weren't good. That could also be it. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. It just got me thinking about that. It's just, man. And then my wife was talking about before someone you don't see in anything. Oh yeah, from SNL, a couple that you don't see. I mean, Dana Carvey, he had freaking, oh my god, because he had Wayne's World, of course, Wayne's World 2, and then for him the arc was just like just straight down, because there was one where he had amnesia. I can't remember the name of it. That one was okay. And then there was freaking Master of Disguise. That's the only one I remember. And that one was just like, ugh. And it's very, very, very eloquently summed up in if you watch the How Did This Get Made episode about Master of Disguise. So, or listen to, sorry, it's a podcast. So if you listen to that, the How Did This Get Made of Master of Disguise, that'll tell you everything you need to know. There's a lot of inside information on that, and I mean some very valid reasons as to why I think it was maybe phoned in to an extent, or the heart was not in it. A very, very valid reason, but it doesn't explain anything prior to that, to the certain ingredient. Well, I don't want to say ingredient, certain happenstance correlating with the filming of that movie. And I'm not going to say it. I want you guys to go watch I want you guys to listen to How Did This Get Made. I'm not going to say what it is, because I want you guys to listen to it, because it's a good show. It's a good podcast. And the other one was Chris Kattan. I was talking about this the other night. It was on Friday. We were talking about, someone was talking about, they remembered a commercial about this something core, and this is a guy that apparently he accidentally did cocaine, and he was like fidgeting around, and I was like, oh, you were talking about Corky Romano. I was like, yes, Corky Romano. Like, yeah, it's Chris Kattan at his best. It's like, oh man. It's just, I don't know, because SNL, it certainly had its big stars for sure. Like, I mean, Will Ferrell still does pretty good. He's certainly trended up and down. I mean, there's some of his that have been great and some that have been meh. And he's also kind of done a different arc with God, what was it called? I know he did one with Zooey Deschanel. I can't remember the name of the movie, but that movie was depressing. That movie was freaking depressing. Certainly not the fun time romp of old school. Man. And oh man, Anchorman 2. Yeah, there has been some downward trend, because Anchorman 2, that Sherlock Holmes thing, I heard wasn't great. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. And maybe at a certain point they feel maybe they feel a little too comfortable. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's they're more concerned with making sure that everyone involved gets paid, not just them. And I'm not saying this is like a sellout kind of thing. It harkens more toward what I was talking about earlier with creating content. If all you do is you create content, and you have other people that rely on your channel or whatever, you have to kind of make sure that you're actually putting out the content, or else, people don't get paid. And maybe this is leans more toward that, maybe in a different way though. Like, they want to make the movie the way the studio wants, to ensure that everyone involved, who maybe they've worked with before, or they work with exclusively and are friends with now, and they want them to. I know that Adam Sandler. Oh, I don't know that, but it seems like Adam Sandler does a lot of his movies so that his friends can have work, which is an admirable thing to do, although it does not always turn out the best movies. So, yeah. But yeah, maybe I don't know enough to say anything with concrete, actual factual, with an actual factual stamp. This is just what I've observed. But anyway, that is about the end of our stream, which has just been prattling on about this and that and putting rocks down. But we did. I mean, we filled in all the gaps here up top, and we have pretty much built the mound, the base coat, if you will. I think I have to do one or two more rings around this thing, maybe 2.5, and then I'm gonna go in and hit it with some of this greenery, and here and there, just kind of poop stuff like that, and we'll smooth it out, make it look like a hill. Well, it looks like a hill, but make it look a little more cohesive. And that is the goal for next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Who do we have? Who did we have in the chat? We had Rotten419, Laurel Master, and Starwitch115. Thank you so much. If you're still lurking, thank you. If not, sure, whatever. No big deal. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for chatting. If you're watching this on VOD, thank you so much. It means a lot just to get a view, And leave a comment or like if you're watching this on YubTubs, YouTube. So yeah, we'll be back on Monday? We'll be back on Thursday for Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. It should be pretty fun. We're going to areas that I have previously not gone in the game, so that'll be interesting. And I'm trying not to look ahead. I'm trying just to, if there's something if there's an item that I'm looking for, I will look it up and see where it's located. And if it's a place that I've not been yet, I will stop there. I will not look further I will not spoil anything. So yeah, we'll be back with Ni no Kuni on Thursday, and then Saturday more Skyrim, Legendary Difficulty, Special Edition with survival mods. And I just got the fishing mod, which I said. So that'll be fun. It's the actual fishing mod that they had in the regular Skyrim playthrough that I did previously, where you have the fishing net and you throw it in and you get the fish that way, which I much preferred. It was it felt a little janky at first, but after a while you just get used to it. The fishing mod that we had for Special Edition just didn't feel good. Like, it was a 1-for-1. You put a piece of bait on the hook, and then you cast your line, and you get one fish, and you lose your bait, which is a different ingredient. So it was a 1-for-1. Just didn't feel good. I'd rather just, throw a net, get a bunch of fish, rinse and repeat. Plus, this fishing mod adds a bunch of fish, new fish ingredients to the game, which I really liked. So yeah, that's Saturday. More Skyrim. That'll be fun. If anyone's looking for a game of Dungeons and Dragons, I run a game of that 5th edition on through Eventbrite. I sell tickets through there. I'm Dice and Brews. There it is on my overlay. If you go to Eventbrite and look for Dice and Brews, you'll see my events on there. I have one coming up on September 21st, which is a Tuesday, and that will be our continuation of my Spine of the World campaign, which is basically the characters are in the Forgotten Realms and they're kind of delving into the depths of a dwarven mine that seems to have a lot of other stuff underneath it, and sort of weird old dungeon stuff, which is kind of neat. But it's a dungeon crawl, so if you miss a month, you won't miss too much story. It's just a lot of really tough encounters that gets you some experience and really cool magic items. So if you have like a 7th or 8th level character knocking around your D&D Beyond account and you want to test it out, if you have a build that you want to see if it works well, it's a great opportunity to do that. Just kind of either get them all ready to go and run them through the grinder. see if it works. It's a great option for that. Tickets are $8. It gets you a seat at the table and a greater healing potion for your character to use in game for that session. At the end of the session, the potion goes away, but I let players drink the potion regardless of the character situation, even if they're unconscious, but not if they're dead. If they're dead, they can't drink the potion. Check that out if you're interested. You can also check it out. There are links for the Eventbrite and more information on my webpage, dicebrews.com. If you're looking for a non-D&D game to play with your friends and or family over video chat, you can check out tourguidegames.com. They offer on-demand, professionally led TTRPGs for you and your friends and or family. All you need is a smartphone. You don't even need dice or paper. Your tour guide is more than happy to take notes and roll dice for you. And even then, not a whole lot of that is required. The games are very rules light, easy to learn, and fun to play over the course of a couple hours. Games like All Out of Bubblegum, Time and Temp, Lasers and Feelings, Project Ninja Panda Taco, Guild of Orpheus, Honey Heist, Fiasco, and Scream. So games like that. Fun one-page, or not really one-page, but the Grant Hewitt games, Honey Heist and Guild of Orpheus, they are one-page Grant Hewitt games. So, but they're very much in that vein. Easy to learn, fun to play. So if you are wanting to get your game night back up and running because you moved recently, or because you're still quarantining and you want to FaceTime with your friends or family and have your game night again, it's a great option for that. Or if you're a business and you're looking for a team building exercise for your employees, it's also a great option for that. They do offer business to business services, so check them out over at tourguidegames.com if you are interested. And it's also important to note that they do not sponsor this stream. I just like giving them free ads because I do also work for them technically, but it's good to give them business. I like giving them business. If this does in fact give them business, I don't know. Anyway, everyone please stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face while you're out and about, social distance whenever possible. The mask goes over your nose and mouth. Check in your area to see if you're eligible to get vaccinated, and just do it, because it's at this point, why haven't you? There's no excuse. You have zero excuses, unless you are medically unable to take it because it could kill you. That's valid. It's considerate, and it's the responsible thing to do. Just be excellent to each other, and we will be back on Thursday. So take care. Till then, bye-bye. Hey, what's up? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and also hit the bell if you want to know when I post some new stuff. You can see some of my other stuff right over there on the screen.